now 10 months since geologist Daniel Robinson went missing in the Buckeye Desert. His dad had been conducting his own searches near where his son's crashed Jeep was found.
Yeah, it's still a mystery, and with his son still missing, he says funding has run dry and he's going to stop searching, at least for now. Brianna Whitney's been following the case for us, spoke to Daniel's father today. Do we know what comes next?
He doesn't even know what comes next. And I think what's so hard in this case is there's just so much unknown here. And that's what's so hard. His dad made a point to say just because he's pausing his desert searches does not mean he's giving up on the case. Because David Robinson has conducted his own investigation alongside law enforcement, he's working largely off donated funds. He says right now there's just not enough to keep group searches going after 10 months.
June 23rd, 2021. The last time anyone saw Daniel Robinson. Yet his dad, David, keeps one thought in the front of his mind.
My son may still be alive out there somewhere.
David Robinson drove to Arizona from the East Coast after his son went missing from his geology job site in Buckeye last summer. His Jeep found crashed about 3 weeks after. Since then, David has been leading organized desert searches with volunteers several times a month. They've found bones that belong to others, but never Daniel's. David says he relies on GoFundMe dollars to keep his own investigation and searches up. And he says the reality is those funds have run out.
The operations search, the organized search is on pause for now.
He says while searches are on hold for now, he's focusing on a different part of the investigation with items found at the Jeep crash site.
One of the biggest parts for me right now is to get the forensics work done for everything else that I found, the clothing, my son's wallet, his cell phone. There's another additional cell phone that was found out there doing my searches close to that area. That phone itself, also the work computer and his personal computer.
David says he's taking his efforts to the next level, filing a 501c3 Tuesday to launch the Daniel Robinson Foundation, where he hopes he can not only raise more money for his own investigation, but can also provide funding to other families dealing with missing loved ones.
The goal is to help other families to not go through the same thing I have been through just to get to this point.
While the Buckeye Police Department has not found evidence of foul play at this point, David says he still believes something criminal happened and says he will stay living in Arizona to see his son's case through.
I'm here until I find my son. That's what the goal is. That's why I'm really fighting. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that happens. I think any father, any mother would do the same.
Buckeye Police tells me Daniel's case is absolutely still active and an ongoing investigation. They're still working on conducting new interviews, looking at satellite imagery, checking financial activity, and working on forensics and targeted searches in that area. Live for now in the studio, Brianna Whitney for Arizona's Family.
A dedicated father, no matter the result in that case. Brianna, thank you for that.
My name is Daniel Robinson. I attend AC Flora, and I'm planning to major in geology at College of Charleston.
Good job.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son, and I'm gonna do everything I can to find him. Thank you all for coming in this morning to this morning Q&A. My name is David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. My son, again, as you all know, had been missing on June the 23rd last year. I've been here since June 26th searching for him. I'm going to continue to fight for my son's honor, fight for his justice, and fight for his case to make sure we can find out what happened to him and where he's located. Also, I have faith and know that God can do anything. I really want to keep that faith that somehow, some way, my son is still out there, alive. And it's only a matter of time when I find him alive. And I'm going to keep believing that, even though, despite of all the things that I do know about this case that would suggest otherwise, I want to keep my faith. And that's what I want to start off this morning Q&A with. Is we're having the candlelight, not candlelight vigil, but the fast and prayer for Daniel. We'll be doing that on the 25th of this month. And I ask you guys, can you please come in and join in with the fast and prayer for Daniel? Because I believe in miracles. I believe in miracles. I believe in God. So I know that he can do all things. The first thing he done this morning for me is to get me up this morning. I'm still here. Thank God for putting me in this position to be able to fight for my son. I'm really grateful, like I said, for you guys also who's been standing right here by my side in support and fighting for Daniel, somebody you have never met in person, but you met in your heart, in your minds, in your soul. You guys have really showed that you are true people who decided to show some empathy for someone else's family and be a part of this case. So I'm really grateful for you all coming out to this Q&A this morning. My son, like I said, for those who haven't been to the Q&As before, my son had went missing on the 23rd of June last year. And, he was right here. You see this banner behind me. But one part about that, to get to that point, my son was he's hired on as a field geologist. So you can know his background. Also called a hydrogeologist from a company called Nature's New World, also called Nature Southwest Groundwater. My son's job is to check the viability of wells. And also the water levels that come out of that wells is part of that viability, and if it's drinkable. What he have been doing is traveling all over Arizona to different locations of wells that's located scattered all over the state. Most of them would be like in desert terrains. There are future areas where community will be built. One of his jobs is to, like I said, is to check the viability of wells to see if those water levels could produce 100 years of water. That is something that's required by law in Arizona to most communities out there. So his job is very important. Very important for you guys if you decided to move out into Buckeye, for instance, to a community that's just being built, brand new house, brand new community. And, you don't want the builders to come in just to make money, because that's what they do. They'll do whatever they can to make that money and get out. And once they get out, everything else, responsibility is you. If you have an HOA, it's up to you, the HOA and yourself, to handle everything else from that point. So you don't want to get into a community where, this is a desert. Arizona, most places there, especially Phoenix and areas like Buckeye, those are deserts. There's built these cities in these deserts, and some of that water is drying up. And you don't want to move in a community where you don't have water. So his job is very important. Very important. He contributed to that by doing so. His brain, his brilliancy. Graduated from College of Charleston with honors. He's a brilliant young man. Starting off his career, just starting off. He had a lot more to do. He had plans and goals and aspirations. And if I can help it, I want to see him to it. And I'm glad you guys, like I said, being here to help me to be able to do that. My son on the 23rd went to that well site. And he called to one of the guys from a company called Weber. They changed information on how Daniel can arrive at that well site. Dan had never been there before. His first time. he first visited a well site before prior to going there. He met that worker outside of that off of Sun Valley Parkway and kept this road off the side of the road there at this gate going into the desert that leads into that desert. Once he got to the gate, according to that worker, they had a brief, quick conversation. He said he noticed my son had the safety vest on, and can't remember saying anything about jeans, but said something referring to his boots. My son got into the vehicle, followed his vehicle into that desert. They drove a mile west to get inside that desert, and then they drove another 2 miles north to get to the well site once they got out there in the desert. So once they got to the well site, the worker said they had a conversation about the weather. He been noticing things about my son, as in his checking for his eyes to see if he was dilated and things like that. Once they finished speaking about the weather, my son had gave some indication he wanted to go back to rest into Phoenix, even though my son lives in Tempe. But he said he wanted to go back to Phoenix. And my son waved off to him, got in his vehicle, and drove off where he was never seen again. As you know, my son's vehicle, he have a Jeep Renegade, 2017 Jeep Renegade, brand new. No, when I say brand new, they have any blemishes on it. Very spotless. He keeps it clean a lot. You know, one of the things I found in Dane's vehicle is his cleaning supplies. He like to keep his vehicle very taken care of. Matter of fact, Daniel had plans before he went missing. He had plans that weekend to go hiking with his sister, and he also had plans with myself and his siblings, where we was going to meet out in July to hang out in Arizona and see. I would be seeing his vehicle for the first time. He was very proud of it. It was a big accomplishment for himself as a young man growing up, showing his manhood, taking care of himself. He bought his first vehicle, and he's very proud. Like I said, this vehicle was spotless, taken care of. And once he, like I said, disappeared from that well site, the vehicle showed up like this, torn all up, 2 impressions in the windshield. Somebody was beating the windshield, according to my accident reconstructionist. And we looked at those damages. It appears someone took something and banged those 2 windshields on both sides, on the crest of the window panes. You could say with some indentation there that would say that someone took something. We don't know what it was. It definitely was something kind of heavy or stronger. Was smashed into those things, those windshields. It was impressions going inward, not outward. So those are some of the things right there. That was our first indication of seeing that vehicle. Also, the damage on the sides of the vehicle and the front that would not match anything that happened in that terrain. Also down that ravine, in a way, the ravine. Also, the red transfer paint that's on the side of the vehicle is the one there on the side you see here, lying down on the ground side of it. There's nothing red in the desert there that vehicle came in contact with. There's nothing red in the desert. So that indication that the accident happened somewhere outside that desert. And also the fact that it was 11 once my investigator came in and got the black box data from the Buckeye Police Department, who told him out of their own mouth, according to him, that they didn't have an investigation, is over. They gave him the black box data because of that. They gave me the vehicle the day after the vehicle was found. And they also gave me everything from the scene and evidence badge marked for safekeeping. The case is over. They have done all they can do, and they moved on. But like I said, on the case, I kept it going because I have my own investigation. My investigator, when I hired him on, he was doing his investigation, and you know, we kept going. Of course, you guys, like I said, been champions from day one. I asked you guys to, can you please sign that petition? You guys have done that. Right now, I think the petition is at last night check, it was at 115,632 people speaking their voice, and it was you all speaking your mind and joining in with me on everything that I feel about why you guys can help me by signing that petition. You guys have supported me on that, and because of that, you know, you guys have been making these phone calls, been sending these letters to that Buckeye Police Department, asking them to step the game up and all that stuff at the beginning. And because of that, and also because of the news medias and also these people who took a chance on put my son's story out there. All that pressure on that department, they all of a sudden say they have an investigation, which is very puzzling to me. How they can do an investigation had not once when they started the investigation, they decided to get, instead of helping me find my son by taking money that I was asking them to come out to the desert to help me with the type of drones that I needed out there, some of the cadaver dogs that I ended up eventually had to get on my own anyway, the cadaver dogs, search dogs, some of the other kind of equipment that I really desperately needed out there. Instead of them doing that and bring this manpower from law enforcement expertise, they decided to get their own accident reconstructionist to rebut what my accident reconstructionist found. You can't rebut a sock that was found from the evidence that matched the sock and the evidence that they collected near the well site where my son went missing. Almost 2 weeks after they collected that stuff, you can't rebut that. You can't rebut the fact that the 11 additional miles is on the vehicle, but they trying. You can't rebut that the two damages on the windshield, but they still continue to try. You can't rebut this testimony of the rancher, who the one that actually found the vehicle, to say the vehicle wasn't there 2 to 3 days prior to July the 19th, but they still tried to rebut that by getting the accident reconstruction of their own. They took that same money they could have helped me out with and decided to get a accident reconstructionist of their own to go, who never seen my son's vehicle, never touched it, never smelled it, never tasted, whatever you want to say, never looked at the clothing, haven't done anything. I doubt if he even came out to the scene, but was able to put a full report about my son's vehicle, everything he feel happened in that accident by pictures or whatever third-party evidence he had, and then had the audacity to go to not Jeep itself, but go to some dealership around Phoenix or around Buckeye, where he went to, the Jeep dealership, and asked some workers there about evidential stuff concerning the mileage and things like that, because you guys know if there's anything that where it says the mileage don't match the dash, or the dash don't match the infotainment system or the computer or the black box data or whatever case may be, he was trying to disprove, that would be called a recall. There's no recalls on that vehicle. If he went, they know not to go to that manufacturers, because they did, the people who actually made the vehicle, they know what the outcome of that would have been. It would have never came off that they have two different things shows up, discrepancies that they was fishing for. I mean, I guess if I can go around and ask a bunch of people same question, I don't know if they did it that way. I'm bound to find someone that agree with me and say, and I say, I got it. That's the person. Then I can write that down. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly how it happened, but I can say there's no recalls on that vehicle. So to have an accident reconstruction that they pay for, automatically told me more and more. I've been pushing this department to help. More and more, they do everything they can not to help. They did everything they can to make sure it appears that Daniel did this to himself. Whether he did this to himself or not, say my son is important. He is just as much as important as any officer who would have been here on the scene. If that would have been a police cruiser out there in the same circumstances, it would have been no doubt of a question. And in my mind, that every law enforcement, every agency, all over this country would have been down on Buckeye to look for this one officer. Not only would they found that officer, they would have found all the many other remains that we found in our searches out there as civilians. Buckeye they say they claim they did so many searches, and not one time they found a construction cone like I used to use. They haven't found an elephant out there. So, there's nothing out there they can find, according to them. When my son's vehicle was found, they said with all the cadaver dogs and tracking dogs, they say they claimed they had. They told me they didn't find no track, no footprints, no tire tracks, no nothing. They told me the tire tracks got erased because of rain. I can take you guys out there today, and I can show you exact tracks where the vehicle traveled down, was pushed down, or whatever the case may be, to that ravine, and also can show you all the tracks from their vehicles when they was pulling it out of there. So that's bogus. Some stuff they be saying about everything tried to be washed off by rain and things like that. So you guys, that's where I'm at this morning, is to bring some awareness to what's happening in my son's case. I don't play the games with anybody. I don't care who they are. I don't care what kind of badge or title or whatever they have. If you got a job, you should. If you can't do your job, you shouldn't be there. I don't care what prestige come into being a chief of police or a detective or whatever you want to call it. I don't give you praises when you're not doing your job. If you're not doing your job, you shouldn't be there. The job of being a police officer is very needed. I'm pro-police, and I know we need cops and we need police, and we have a lot of good ones out there. As a matter of fact, I have one in my family, and so there's a lot of people out there who doing great jobs as officers. But I call out the ones that's not, especially in my son's case. My son is important. His life is at stake. His honor is at stake. And when they're making mistakes and not doing the right thing, they shouldn't be there. They should retire, quit, or whatever can, and put some people in there who would do the job. Like I said before, I'm a veteran. I fought for this country. And if I didn't want to join the military, the first thing they asked me when I was going to swear in at MEPS, they said, hey, do anybody put a gun to your head, make you do this? You know what you're getting into when you sign this contract. And when you go on to, you give up so many rights as a civilian, and you make this choice for yourself. I was told by my recruiter. Most recruiters will tell you everything under the sun of how you're gonna go to school and get this and stuff, go and join the military, which is not true. They pick people, but you know what? What they would do is try to talk you into going into the military. My recruiter was trying to tell me why I shouldn't be choosing the MOS that I was choosing at the time, because they were dropping like flies in Iraq. But saying, even with all of that, I still decided to keep my MOS, and I joined the military on my own accord, and I did my job well. I did my job so well that I even suffered a brain injury, didn't know I had at the time, and I had suffered brain injury right. I was in Afghanistan fighting for this country, but I knew I was getting into. Me and my battle buddy, we go out there, we do our job well. We didn't go out there violating the rules and the laws that we have in the military, escalation of force and things like that. We did our job the right way, despite of getting attacked or certain things that was going on. We knew our job. We go out there risking our life, knowing that we pray all the time before we leave. Hey, look, we know we may not come back. We had a lot of soldiers that didn't come back once we leave the wire, what we call it. And once we leave, we're not guaranteed to come back. We know it's our job, though. It's a risk. It's the inherent risk of taking that job, just like a police officer. So I was saying all that just I know we say, hey, blue lives matter. All lives matter too, but black lives matter, blue lives matter. Yes, it does. But you know what? When you come into the military, you know what your job is. And when you come in as a police officer to defend and protect everybody in this country from harm, you put yourself at those inherent risks. So you know what your job is, and you need to do your job well. So that's what I'm trying to say. The point I'm getting to is that these officers, when they come out there and they say, hey, this is a young man that's missing, his family say otherwise is a problem. We recognize that problem. Don't look for a reason not to show that this man is okay. Let's rule out the worst things first. Let's go out and look for exactly what the family is asking for first, and then kind of roll those things backwards. Because had those guys did exactly what I did ask for when I was in South Carolina, for them to go out there that night and put a helicopter out there, look for my son. Once I realized the area that he went missing was out there in the desert, when I got the information from his workers, his coworkers in his company there. They also told me he couldn't do it because of night. I accepted that. They would do it in the morning. Okay. All right. I'm in South Carolina. They in Arizona. I'm too far away. So once that morning came and they denied it, and the whole reasoning for denying my son his safety, his protection that they sworn to do, serve and protect, their reasoning was because he's a grown man. If he wanted to disappear, he can if he want to. I mean, how did they know that he wanted to disappear? That's the first thing they're saying, without even doing any type of investigation that was said he want to disappear. Like, they have no letter saying, no letter from my son. Didn't have a verbal comment from the son. They have no phone call where he called into the police department and say, hey, despite what my family say, I want to leave and join a monastery, become a monk. I'm just saying, they'd have nothing to say that, but they decided to immediately, with their assessment, say, hey, I'm not going to look for him. He is a grown man. He can leave if he want to. I mean, what would you imagine they would have said that about their own child or their own son that they knew wouldn't just leave or on his own accord without saying something? And if he did, something is wrong. Something is very much wrong, where this person is is an endangered person. They do have a such thing as an endangered person. So one of those things would have been very proper for the department to take things in that manner. But no, they decided to wait almost 3 days later after whatever my auntie said and Philly to them and convince them. I mean, that's crazy where you had to convince a department to do something. And I'm still questioning that first one, but I'm still working on that to find out that flight ever even happened in the first place. But this for the sake of not knowing, they waited almost 3 days later to send a bird to look for my son. When, like I said before, they never come up with anything. I mean, everything they ever say they did, they always come up empty-handed. But yet, right here near the scene, they told me, "Hey, Mr. Robinson, we had cadaver dogs, plural. We had search dogs, tracking dogs, they call them, plural, tracking dogs. We have cadaver dogs, plural. And yet they come up empty-handed, but we found a skull near this area where this vehicle was found. We did as volunteers on the ground. And they have dogs specialized into finding human remains, and they came up empty. So I questioned their search. And if I was to listen to the rancher said it wasn't no cadaver dogs. They told him personally that all the dogs that is borrowing, they don't even have their own dogs. They borrowing those from Maricopa County, was in training that week. So they only had one dog, and that one dog came out at 10 o'clock at night. They took that dog out for almost 30 minutes, came back talking about the mountain lion is stalking the dog, and the dog left. The whole entire day, they didn't have no helicopters. They only had a drone out there, operator. They only had one razor. He gave me details. One razor, and I believe that one razor because every time, the 2 times I asked Buckeye to come out there to aid me in my search on something or go look at these wells, those 2 times they came with that same razor, that one razor. So that's when I first saw it, and I said, you know what, this rancher is right. They only have one razor, and so he came with a one razor. He said, and he changed the tire because it had a flat tire on it, and he gave me a lot of details about that. But you know what? I question a lot of things they claim they did, and they could put in their report. And that's the beautiful part about being an officer. People take your word for it. They have something inherent things they can just put there, and people would take it for word from word. I question things. I question from logics. If things don't sound right, smell right, taste right to me, I'm definitely going to question them. Like, again, I don't care who you are or where you're from or whatever you are. If it's not right, I'm going to say something about it. Late John Lewis said before, if you see something that is not right, say something. You got to. You have to say something. You have to speak out. And especially in my situation, it happened to be my son, so I'm definitely going to be speaking out about that. Again, I'm David Robinson, father of geologist Daniel Robinson. I want to thank you all for coming into this morning Q&A. And I want to start off by make sure we talk about this tip line. If you guys have any information, please utilize the tip line that's on the bottom of the screen. And also, if you don't want to, the tip line, I want to say, first of all, is 24 hours, 7 days a week tip line that I'm paying for. You guys can leave a tip. Anything, heard anything, saw anything. And we have live operators. Like I said, we take your call 24 hours, 7 days a week. If you don't want to talk to them, you can do what's like what I have down on the bottom of the screen there. You can text the word tip to that number, and you still can remain anonymous if you like. If you do want to just talk straight to me and say, hey, I know what went down, and you want to talk directly to me, you can do that also by calling me direct on my public phone number there. I do it. That's my phone. I have it in my possession, and I answer those calls as much as I can, and also answer text messages as much as I can. But I can tell you that number there is not an anonymous tip line, so I can't give you make sure that you're anonymous by calling that number. But you can, unless you have some kind of burner phone or things like that, I can't assure you of that. Also, you can use that number if you want to give me a tip. Hey, you need to go look this place, that place, for whatever reason you feel, or you say, hey, you want to give me advice. Hey, Mr. Robinson, thank you so much, or whatever. Whatever you got to say to me, you can also use that number also. But also, all that information is on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. You can find the tip line there. You can find the petition. If you guys want to sign that petition, that definitely will help if you sign that petition. Also, you can find ways that you can help in other ways you can help. If you don't live here in Arizona, or if you're not close by Arizona and you want to come help, there's other ways you can help. There's other ways tab you can hit there and get the information there for other volunteering in other ways is what I'm saying. And also there's a PDF there if you guys want to help put these flyers out there, because one of my main goals is get Dane's story out there as far as I can. That's why I created this YouTube channel. I want to thank again Gizla K from Grizzly True Crime. She has helped me get this thing started. She's gave me all the tools I needed to get a channel, and I have some more tools that she had showed. She gave me a whole big old lesson in the way. She made this big video for me and told me how to get this thing going. I took part of that to get it going so far, but I'm going back and look at some more of her video to add more content to this channel. But like I said, this is not an entertainment channel or anything, and hers is definitely not either. I just want to make sure this is a channel utilized for getting Dane's story out there, and also to help other families. So I'm really still reaching out. I did tell you guys for the last Q&A, I was going to have a family out. I did reach out to him. We had a conversation about it. And then since then, I haven't heard back from him. I've been trying to reach back out to him. I'm hoping that it was that he found his mother. His mother went missing. And I was hoping that that's what the case is when I didn't hear back. So I still haven't heard back from them yet. And I hope I can have them on. I also have another family that I asked. So I have these families, and one of the biggest things is coming on camera. I mean, it was hard for me to try to get local when I was fighting hard for 3 months, trying to get some kind of attention to my son's case locally and also nationally, putting out his name and doing. It's hard doing these interviews. And I first started getting behind camera. It's the hardest thing to try to do, you know what I'm saying? But over time, of course, when you keep doing something repetitively, you know what I'm saying, eventually you just get used to it. And at this point, I have gotten used to it. And I know it's hard for a family to come out and say, hey, I want to be on camera and I want to talk, you know what I'm saying? So so you can bear with those families. I did invite them on. That's why I want to utilize this channel too, like I said, to help other families if they want to get their person's name out there, much as I can help, you know what I'm saying? You guys have been like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and you already have grown over 1,000 subscribers, which is great in a little bit of time. And in the YouTube world, I found out that's really, really good. I'm really grateful for that, for you guys for doing that, helping the channel grow like that. So I really need it, and it's for a good cause. Again, I would try my best to try to see if I can get them to come in. But anyway, again, with the flyers, you guys can, there's a PDF there if you guys want to make your own flyers. You can't come out to help. I am looking for people who are wanting to be an ambassador. When I say ambassador, volunteer ambassador for your cities and your state where you're at, to help get these flyers out there. You guys can go on that tab again, volunteer in other ways tab, and you can fill out the information that's there, and also just kind of put a special note if you want to be an ambassador, a volunteer ambassador for the flyers. This is just specifically for those flyers, distribution, to get the flyers out there. And I will give you the details of it once I get collective of names and things like that from different cities and different states. And I would like to have a small meeting with you and discuss the details of that, or what I'm looking for. So, and see if you guys want to be a part. So if you guys can do that, I really appreciate it. I really want to get these flyers out there as much as possible. My goal is started off really simple, is to hit the homeless shelters, hit the hospitals, the mental health wards, whatever. Everything that was kind of pertaining to my son's case was a possibility he could be. I started off that way, and I just called it the city search, which expanded to city distribution because of some problems I had with trying to get into some of these homeless shelters. But I realized that, hey, I need to get these flyers, not just the homeless shelters, the facilities, but everybody knows, because, a person who may have seen something, heard something, may live in Florida now, may live in South Carolina, I don't know. And I want to make sure these flyers get out everywhere. So I started off that point to try to hit every city in Arizona. And that has been going very well. I have people come from all over Arizona, taking those flyers back to their home cities and things like that, and passing them out. So I was getting them out there that way, but I also wanted to get out even farther to every state, because like I said, you never know, somebody heard something or saw something or been part of whatever about what happened to Daniel, maybe living elsewhere now. So that's where you come in to help. So I'm really depending on that. if you guys do that. And also, like I said, if you guys want to sign that petition, and also if you guys want to know anything about events, I will be adding something to the events tab today. Of course, we have the fasting and prayer. Like I said, that's coming up on Wednesday on the 25th, and you guys can join in with us and have that the hashtag fast and prayer for Daniel. But that's not just totally just for Daniel. It is on my point to ask God and petition him to help me find my son. That's my main goal and my main priority as a father. I get my priorities straight, and my first priority is to my son and my family. So, but after that, I do have want you guys to also consider, and as I have, and continue to pray for other families and ask God to bless these families who have their missing loved ones, and they too can have a sense of closure, or they can find their loved ones the way they should. You know what I'm saying? So we're praying for those too. So everybody's included, not just for Daniel, because this thing's bigger than me and my family. Of course, I'm gonna continue to fight for other families too. That's why we have the foundation. The Daniel Robinson Foundation is already filed, and so we're definitely going to be, working and helping other families. So that's one of the biggest parts of having a Daniel Robinson, having a foundation. Period, is to be passionate. I couldn't be human to hear other people's stories as I have, and not wanting to help in some form or fashion. So that's my goal, to be able to do that also. And I want to give let you guys know, if you guys wanted to help in the desert searches out there. I have not quit looking for my son out there in that desert. It's very important that I go out there and continue and finish up those areas that haven't been searched yet. It's very important to cover those areas. If my son is out there, I don't want to leave him out there on the ground. We have recovered other human remains on the ground, and sometimes that's seared into my brain, where I have to constantly wonder if my son is out there, and if he is, it hurts me to mentally just even imagine in my brain that he's just lying there on the ground in a manner that we've seen a lot of other family people out there on the ground. So I don't want that for my son. I don't want that for anybody, but I definitely don't want that for my son. And so my goal is to go out there again, with when I say out there again, with volunteers, because I can go out there during a weekday, but I'm just only one man. I can't cover a lot of ground. So you guys, that's where you guys come in and help. If you can, come out there to the future searches once they get up and going again. I need the manpower. I need to, do those line searches, and those line searches cover a certain sector and certain areas and stuff like that. We have gridded off and search that ground. I mean, it's very important, because not only that, like I said before, we found other people's family members too. So, in the process of looking for my son. So it helps out in many ways to be out there. So, but right now, the special operations desert searches are temporarily paused. I did not stop, they just paused for now. A lot of it's because of financial reasons. A lot of it is also for the participation level has dwindled down a lot, and some other things that need to be taken care of. So hopefully the foundation would come along, help along with that, and also you guys will come back out there in the searches out there with me once I get it up and running again. So I really grateful for you guys coming out again this morning. Let's see if I missed anything that I wanted to put out there. But thank you all for coming out to this Q&A. And I really appreciate it, and supporting this efforts here and spreading this word. It's very important that we get the word out there, and if you guys can continue to do so. We do have a event that I'm going to put up there, and I want to make sure that I get this right when I'm speaking about it. But we have an event that's coming up, and what we need to do is try to get these petitions numbers up. So we're gonna have an event there. I'll put it up there on the events tab. You guys can check it out today on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. But we'll have an event to get this petition signed, to try to get up to another level in a petition and things like that. So look out for that. Just check out the website today, tomorrow, and check out the events tab. We also, like I said, I do have the prayer and fasting up there already, and you guys can follow on with us. And it started off on that Q&A that Wednesday. I will be ushering it off with a prayer. We start everything off with prayer. When we're going to fast and prayer, we start off with prayer, and then on that Q&A prime time, is where we come to its conclusion. So thank you also. Thank you, Shiro's Nation, for being here this morning. Good morning to you, Doohickey, for being here. I really appreciate you. Thank you, Sophia, for being here this morning and being moderating and everything else you do. God bless you. Also, thank you for putting up the fast and prayer for Daniel. That's going to be on May 25th. You guys can please, like I said, join that. We really need you to be a part. I believe in unity, and when unity comes strength, so you guys can do that. And, thank you, Esther, for being here. Thank you, Mar, for being here. Thank you, Danielle, for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Leslie B, for being here. Good morning to you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That's right. Say his name. I really appreciate you putting that at hashtag Daniel Robinson. God bless you for that. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Shauna, being moderated in the chats and also everything you do in the background. Good morning. Hello to you. Thanks so much. Excuse me. All right. Thank you, Don, for being here this morning. I really appreciate it. You guys. Please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Thank you for putting that up there, Shauna. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Throat getting a little dry. Hit that like, share, subscribe button there. I really appreciate that. Again, thank you, Don Pratt, for being here this morning. Where the wind blows. I really appreciate you being here this morning. So, okay, I thought that was a question. But if you guys have any questions, thank you, Michelle, for being here. If you guys have a question, please put the word question there first in all caps, followed by your question. That helped me find it as I'm coming down the comment section. And also, if you don't want to do it that way, you can put the capital letter Q or some question marks, a big question mark or something to indicate that you have a question. And that help me find it as I'm coming down, like I said, the comment section. So thank you. All right. And also, let me see who else I have here. Okay, I think I have some of the same ones, but thank you so much, everybody, for coming out to this Q&A and being a part. Okay, I think I have it right here. Thank you, Shauna. When you have a question, please start off with the capital letter Q or a question or the question mark, so for easy citing. That do help out a lot. It helps out tremendously as I'm trying to stroll down to find questions. And that's what I need you guys to do. If you have a question, especially if this is your first time coming to the Q&A, you have any question, there's no dumb question, any question about my son's case, that's what I'm here for, to try to answer to the best of my abilities. Meaning that if it's something that's dealing with an investigation, I can't tell you, I would tell you that also. And also, if I just don't know, I just don't know. So I would answer all the questions. I want to make sure, though, that you're getting it from me. You're not getting other, because I hear all kind of things out there from I work for the government and my son is not real to there's all kind of stuff you hear or to he just whatever. This I kind of take it this way. I don't think everybody mean harm. Not everybody. Sometimes I think it's almost like that room. If you had a room full of people and we was all in a circle and you whisper certain, tell them, hey, I'm gonna whisper something into this first person's ear, and y'all pass it around this whole room until get back to that person. By the time I come back, it'll be something else totally different. So it happens. It happens. That's part of life. That's part of being human. But some things I hear that's totally off. So thank you also for being here, Nicole. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being a part of this Q&A. Again, Doohickey for being here, being a part of this Q&A. LL, thank you for being here. Also again, and thank you for putting that information. If you guys have a question, definitely put a question in there or something like that. That will help me find it as I'm coming down. If I do miss a question by chance, feel free to ask your question again. I have no problem with that. And that way I can find your question. I'm going down now, searching for questions and things. But as I'm going, I would tell you all, thank you, Barry, for being here this morning. Thank you for being here and being part of the moderation and also everything you do in the background. I'll try to read what you're saying here. Pause really quickly. Okay. And thank you so much. Yeah, if you guys can hit that like, share, and subscribe button, that really will help, the algorithms and help this channel grow. I really need that. That's the whole name of this game, is get Daniel's story out there. So if you guys can, word of mouth is everything. You guys can share a story by verbally telling somebody, getting these flyers out there. whatever it takes. Hey, invite him out to the channel, everything, and whatever it takes, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that Daniel's story stay alive. We cannot not allow his story to go dead, you know, go dormant. And, you know, it's going to be here. His story is going to be here. And that's why I'd rather say let it go dormant because it's going to be here regardless. And my job is as a father to try to take every effort I can to keep it out there and keep it going. And while I'm in the background doing my own investigation, working with my investigator, trying to work with the law enforcement, and also, like I said, other things I have to take care of when I'm not on this stuff here. So it's a lot. Get this foundation running and stuff like that. So thank you so much. All right. Thank you, LL, for your question. This is the first one. I really appreciate your question. Question, David. You need to go through Daniel's entire computer to see if he left you a private message for help besides the water data. If he was kidnapped and they took his phone. Well, you know, that stuff is being forensically done. And that's why you guys see that I have a pause in the searches, for instance, financial stuff. One of the biggest parts. And one of the biggest reasons is I had to take everything you guys donating, because donations have been coming in really, really slow. So what I have to do is take those, what I do get, and try to save it up to get this forensics done. That's one of the biggest things. Everything you see on the scene right here, I always have this bad orientation because I have a green screen behind me. Everything on the ground there is my son's clothing. Those things still have to be forensically. And, you know, I'm on time sensitive thing too, so I kind of think of it in that way. I'm not an expert. I'm just a father looking for my son. I'm not an expert on forensics or anything like that. I don't go by what I hear, see, especially on shows and stuff. You know, I think they even got a commercial out there to kind of make light of the people say, "Hey, I watched this show and I can fly a plane or something." You know, but no, it's pretty much a lot of common sense. First of all, a lot, you know, just God gave us a little of that. You know, everybody have a little common sense if you use it. And I just know that those things need to be taken care of. The police department should have taken care of that on day one, and they haven't. They chose not to. So the forensics had to be done on those clothing. Forensics had to be done on his, you know, every item, each item on his sock wallet, all this kind of stuff. His cards in his wallet. I'm sure. I think all that probably be included. I hope, because I know the phone. They tell me everything. Forensics have to be done separately, you know, and it costs everything costs separately. The transfer paint on the vehicle, where that come from, the damage itself. You know, we got that report from waiting on that report actually from my former accident reconstructionist. Also, the airbags had to be tested, and also I want to know personally when the vehicle get processed, was there any fingerprinting ever done on that vehicle? Because I can tell you when I say that, I question everything. Like I told you guys, I'm going to double check, do my due diligence. And so far, I haven't seen anything that indicate, even though I know they say they did fingerprinting under my request on that vehicle some days after the vehicle was found. When it was taken away from the scene, they say they did done some fingerprinting under my request. But I don't see anything from what I remember in the pictures I see, and standing a few hundred feet away from the vehicle and things like that. And from my former investigator, I haven't seen anything that would indicate them using any kind of powder or whatever they do to get fingerprinting done. I don't know how they do it, but I don't know if it's really messy or something really light. But I don't see anything that would indicate that. I'm not an expert, so and we want to make sure that get done anyway and check for fingerprinting, fibers, you know, you name it, hair, whatever the case may be, and blood. One of the biggest things for me is blood. For them to say double talk and say, "Hey, your son did not get an injury wearing the seatbelt. He didn't sustain any injury because we didn't see any blood in the vehicle." First of all, how you know in the blood in the vehicle? How you know they wiped it up? But no blood. We didn't see any blood in the vehicle. But at the same time, say he had a severe brain injury from that wreckage, you know, and then he didn't get no kind of scrapes or nothing with glass breaking out in the on the driver's door. Even though there was no glass in the vehicle, but glass in the driver's door, things like that. So, you know, it's too much for that question. But all that had to be forensically done, taken care of from his electronics, his home computer, the one he's speaking of, his personal computer, his work computer, things like that. So all that had to be done, taken care of. So it's in the process. It's in the process. I don't know. And, you know, you never know. You never know If it's a kidnap situation or not, I don't know. I don't have any evidence of that. But I'm looking at every aspect. All right, I do have a question from Ella again. Did you check Dane's computer for a personal message? No, I have not. I don't touch those things personally, and I can be honest with you, I don't tamper with anything. That's one thing I wouldn't do, is tamper with stuff. Only thing I was able to tamper with is Danny's cell phone, because it was given to me in that manner. And other than that, I don't tamper with things. Evidence wise, I haven't seen those things. They are stored properly the way they should. Only person who handled those things outside of Buckeye was my former investigator, and the computer and things like that. So I don't have any knowledge of what's on that computer or what would be found and things like that. So that's why the labs and all that, they would be doing that. And I need to get the funding to have it done. And then once they get it done, then I get that report, and then I'll know the answers to that. If there's some kind of secret message or whatever, or anything that indicate anything about the computer. So and also the other cell phone and some of the other stuff. So I make sure I don't like the vehicle. I haven't never touched the vehicle to this date. Never touched it ever, even when Buckeye Detective Biffin showed it to me for the first time. Never touched the vehicle. Still haven't touched the vehicle. I've seen the vehicle only twice. Like I said, that's when the detective showed it to me, and also my investigator showed it to me. But other than that, no, I haven't seen it. Haven't been close to it. Closest I have been to that vehicle is with the detective, and that's about 3 feet away. All right, like, share, subscribe, and to this channel. It's very important if you guys do that. They help with this algorithm, get the story out there. Thank you, Oklahoma, for being here. Thank you for sending your prayers. I really appreciate it. Don't forget about the fast and prayer for Danny, you guys. You can do that hashtag. Get started now. Hashtag prayer, fast and prayer for Daniel. I really appreciate get those algorithms going on that behalf, because on the 25th we will be having it. I will be on this Q&A on that Wednesday, and I'll be praying and starting it off with prayer. And like I said, when you guys come out there to do the fast and prayer with us, I leave that under your own discretion how long your fast and prayer would be. But I do a prayer at the end of the day to bring it to a conclusion. Don't mean that you literally have to go to a conclusion, but if you want to go longer, you can. But that's the way, because I'm on the screen, and I want to make sure that I do a prayer before the ending part of the fast and prayer. So I'll be doing that on Wednesday prime time, the last prayer, ending and bringing it to its conclusion for that day. So you guys can join in with us. I mean, I really need that strength, unity and strength. It's very important. You guys have been showing unity by coming out to this Q&A, hearing some of the same things, and just being a part. I mean, just really being supportive like that. That means a lot to me and my family. You guys have been very supportive in all many ways. I'll just go over and over again, because you guys have been very supportive, and I'm really grateful for you. Again, prayers for the missing. Yes, we definitely have to pray for every family out there, because I'm telling you guys, a lot of people don't know the pain of having a missing loved one. It's almost like a person. I don't want to say dying, because that's like putting a thing there to say that's exactly what happened to the person. But it's almost like that, say, because you don't have any answers, and you have to wonder. Like, when I had to look at this scene right here behind me every time, the first thing I see as a father, and as a person that loves my son, is foul play. Something hurt. Somebody hurt my son, or something happened to him, and seeing his clothing on the ground like that. That's the first indication, the first thing. But to see it over and over again, you have to live it over and over and over again. I have to live it every day. Some people say to me the other day about how you have to keep repeating the same thing over and over again. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But you know what? I had to do it for Daniel's sake. I had to do it for that. I had to make sure his story stay out there. A lot of people can ask a lot of questions why. I can ask the question why, but I know God put me on my mission. I'm on a mission for my son, and he's my first priority. And I want to make sure I get his story out there. But yeah, you live it, miss a person, you live it over and over and over again, not wondering where your loved one is. Some people had to deal with this for years. That's why I say I talk to these families. They had to deal with it for years. It's going on a year for me and my family. My son is missing. So this is new compared to some of these families who have been going for many years, wondering where their loved one is, and they have to live that pain over and over and over again. So people say, "Hey, how long did you grieve?" First of all, I haven't even get a chance to even grieve my son's disappearance yet. I had to stay strong and mentally strong. But his family man, his mother do. She had to grieve every day. And sometimes people say, "Hey, look, how long do you do it?" I don't know. That each person have their own individual time. I couldn't perceive in my own brain that anybody, because like I said, I talked to these families who've been missing their loved ones for years, and to me, when they talk to me about it, it's almost like it happened yesterday or something, or it happened the early part of this morning or something. The way they describe what happened, how they're looking for their loved one, what they wish they could have done, and things like that. To them it's fresh. It's always fresh in your mind because you just don't have the answers. You blank. You don't have answers, so it's always going to be keep playing over and over in your mind. What could have been done, where they could have gone, or what happened to them, or who did it, or whatever the case may be. So it's very difficult. So anyway, I have a question here from Esther. Thank you so much for being here. Question is there a way for you to contact the rancher? Oh, yes, I have talked to the rancher many times. Matter of fact, that's where I get the testimony from and his information. And then that's why I got a lot of the pictures. I got more pictures from him that looks like this here. His pictures a lot more detailed. But I have a lot more pictures from him than I got from the Buckeye Police Department. So he took a lot of pictures on the scene when we found the vehicle. So I got a lot of information. Him seemed like a very nice guy. He gave a lot of information to him and his wife. And so I talked to him a lot in the past. I haven't talked to him recently. It's been a long time, for months now. The last time I spoke to him was last year. A little after my son went missing, he was willing to share a lot of information. So at the time, to me and my investigator, I think if you speak to him and he puts it in a statement, the vehicle wasn't there a few days earlier. Yeah, he put in a statement, not only a statement, he put in a recorded statement. He even said it to Buckeye. So there's no mention of this or the Buckeye notes, and that's true. And you got to ask yourself that question. I've been saying this for months. Why wouldn't they put that in the report? Why don't they say, "Hey, rancher found the vehicle," and that's it, end of story? Why they don't put that in the report? I'm telling you, this when you guys you say things like that, Esther, one of the biggest things I will say about the Buckeye Police Department, they selectively put what they want to. First of all, they put information in their report saying, "I said as a father, my son was in love with a woman." I'm still saying over and over again because I'm really angry about that. He's in love with a woman he didn't know. I never said that to him. My daughter ain't never said that to him, but they put that in there. They neglected to put in information about this young lady with my son ran in contact with doing the Instacart. 2 young ladies. It's not one, just 2. But they neglected to put the other one in there. They neglected to put his phone records in there, and the fact that his phone was white of those messages. They neglected to put that in that report. But they let this lady upload her own information into the report and take a hearsay that she could have easily changed the wording and put her own text together and put in their report without vetting it. Because if they vetted it, it would have been in their report that, hey, Mr. Robinson's cell phone was wiped of his side of those text messages, for instance. And also they neglected to put in my statement as a father, my very much concern about my son being out there in the desert, and he's not from Arizona and things like that. And the reason why I really needed them to go out there and search for him. They also neglected to put, like I said right here, the rancher's testimony. I have it recorded, voice testimony. He testified in front of me and my investigator. He told us anything he knows. He said he's willing to go to court on it, and everything else he had to talk about. So they neglected to put that in that report. And it comes to believe, to me, in my opinion, is if it's done on purpose, that type stuff, to keep that narrative in a certain area to paint this narrative. Like I told you guys before, for you guys who heard me say this before, when I first heard about this young lady being in the report. My son told me about this young lady. Me and him had a real conversation. We have a 2-hour conversation. He never once described any kind of way of loving this lady, first of all, or even liking her. He didn't even say I even like her, But you know, I could tell a young man. Of course, I mean, she probably. He's a young man. He liked women. He's you know, heterosexual guy. So the thing is, one of the things that was given to me by reporters is when I first found out that all that was in the police report, and that people wanted, you know, because I was really going really hard on Buckeye about them not doing the search. It would take almost 3 days to search for my son. I was putting that in the media. I was hitting it hard, and I'm sure you guys was hitting them up hard about it, angry, upset, and also the media was hitting them hard. Why this? Why that? Why? One of the reporters I know, she came to me, Mr. Robinson. I just came from Buckeye, and she had a report in hand. She said, "Hey, this report." They gave me a report, and she showed me about this young lady and the text message, but it was highlighted in some lighted thing. And I say, "What is?" I thought she highlighted. No, they highlighted it. They put it out in the media. So that's when I started talking about verbally out in the media about. I think it was a character assassination. Hey, don't look at what we didn't do and what we really not putting in this report. I want y'all to look at this text messages deal with him and this girl or whatever, and they selectively have done that. That's what I was putting in the, out there in the public, that I believe there was character assassination. And I feel it as a racial thing also at the time I was speaking about it, is because every time a black person, mainly my son, I've seen that happen with the Jelani Day family. They'll try to some kind of way villainize that person. Instead of looking at all the great things. My son is a scientist, brilliant man, never been to jail, never even have a traffic ticket, you know, contribute to society, all of that. But some kind of way they want to sit there and try to burn him, to make him out to be a stalker. He has some mental health issues or something, you know, try to make him out to this person. And I didn't like that. And I felt like I had to defend my son in some kind of way. And then I thought about, again, I don't have to defend my son. My son is who he is. He's a scientist. He's a brilliant man, nice natured person. Everybody love him, get along with everybody, and he will make this country great. So the type deal. So, you know, so I had to go through that stuff with this department, trying to defend my son and try to get them to do the right things at the time. They consistently showed me they weren't going to try to do that. They're going to try to do everything to make themselves look good and try to, in my opinion, cover something. Like say things what that rancher said, to say, hey, this vehicle wasn't even here 2 to 3 days prior, and that would make it, when you do that, that would make that, and not only just suspicious, but make it criminal. And they try to do everything they can not to avoid that from happening, and so they're not going to put that in a report. And you know, so that's kind of things right there. But that question, that's the thing for the question that kind of brings out some more stuff. But yeah, still working on getting this department to relinquish. Like I said, I lost faith a long time ago in that department. So you guys probably understand that by now. I don't care what they come up with now. Them guys need to put my son's case where it belongs, to people who actually want to do the job. Like I said, when I was in the military, we swore on the battalion. I'm sure officers have to do the same thing, put their right hand up, you know, and swore batet to do the right, defend, and whatever the case may be. And they had to do that and serve the public. And these guys have showed me over and over again, they're not willing to do that for my son. They didn't do it from day one. They're doing everything they can to just make themselves look good and lying about stuff. And oh, we did this, and they haven't taken credit for everything that I've done since I've been here. June 26th, coming out for my son. They took a lot of credit, try to take credit for things that myself and my searches and the volunteers have been doing out there in the desert. Take credit for information that was found on my search with my investigator I paid for, and things like that. So information that we gave them. So, you know, that type deal, you know. So I've said again, I do not work for Buckeye. They work for me. And I had to cut them off on a lot of stuff because of that. You know, when I found out they in my opinion, sit behind the desk, wiping itself or whatever the case may be. And we out there in the field doing all the work. And, you know, I don't work for Buckeye. I work for my son. He's my son, and I'm making sure that he's okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Larnell, also for being a part of the team and also being a moderator and being in the background. Good morning to you. I really appreciate you, brother. You know, you everything, brother. I really appreciate it. And God bless you for being here on this Q&A. And all the hard work you're doing. Everybody, you know, I don't see some of the people that was coming to the comment section. I do have people that's out there in the desert. You guys come out on the Q&A. I have a lot of people, a lot of support. There's a lot of people to mention. So when you guys come on the chat, then I can say your name and things like that, because I see you there. But you know who you are. You're out there working hard with me and out there in the desert, and being a great team working out there. So I have different teams, saying, people that really was working hard and still working hard to help everything, to do everything that they can to get Daniel found, found one way or the other. So everybody who supported me and out there in the desert, that's some hard physical work, and I really appreciate it. All the time and efforts you guys have put out there. And I'm going to be out again. I hope you come out there again. I really need you. So, and I really miss you. It's something when you're out there in this tragedy that's going on with my son and our family. At the same time, you just meet these wonderful people, and you become like family, and you miss them, in a sad way, because we're out there look for something, look for my son. And but at the same time, we learn to get close to each other and get to know each other. So I miss the people that's out there and helping in searches and stuff like that too. So everybody, all of you have played your part and playing your part. I really appreciate it. Everything that you can do and you want to do, you play your part of things that you can do. Under your circumstances, everybody have different circumstances. They have jobs and other things alike. I understand that. That's like I said, for any volunteer that came out there, you only came out there for one day, one search. Man, that's family to me. You took your time out, come out on your Saturday or weekday or whatever it was, and you took your time out to your own house, spent your gas to come out there to support. I mean, that means a lot to me. So God bless you on that, and I really love you for it. All right. I have Where's the Wind Blows, Statue of Liberty icon. Oh, thank you. Yes, I want to bring up the military background for several reasons in this case. First of all, I had a brain injury, and it took me a long time to get to a point where I didn't have this issues no more. A lot of my battle buddies know what my issues were when I was medevac from Afghanistan, and God brought me a long way from that. But you know what? When I had to bring that up, is because I started out too. I have some people in the background didn't want me to bring up my personal things that happened, but I had to for my son's sake, because these people look me in my eye and say, "Hey, your son had this brain injury that caused him to shred his clothes," and he was telling me like he's a scientist, and this is what brain injuries does. When you have a brain injury, it makes you feel hot. People with brain injuries feel like they get hot, and it just make you want to take your clothes off, and they just take their clothes off, this kind of thing. He describing that to me. And then the whole time just looking this man in the eye. And I don't say things a lot of times, just let you go ahead and spew all the BS you want to say, and then just look at you, he's telling me that, and he's telling me something about myself. Man, it's gonna make you hot and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking in my head, like, dude, I had a brain injury and I never felt that way. What he was describing to me, I have never felt that way, or even just had a desire to strip my clothes off. On time, I strip my clothes off when I go. Well, anyway, the whole point is I don't strip my clothes off just because I felt hot or something, and for whatever reason. And then the other part is, the logic part of that was that the fact that they say he put his clothes in a pile. If you have a brain injury and you disoriented, because I know if you get hit by ID, you see that flashing blade, you get disoriented for a second, or whatever the case may be, and you're not thinking, if you're taking your clothes off for whatever reason, you're not gonna say, I'm gonna put it in some little pile. That's what I'm trying to say. So he come out of a so-called accident, coming down this ravine here, smashed the car. They say it rolled. I mean, and the crazy part during the time, he tell me, man, it rolled and it flipped, and that's why I got my accident infrastructure. He'll tell me, man, he made it sound devastating. It rolled, it flipped, and it twisted this way, and it bounced this way, and then it landed, it just dropped down. I mean, that's how he was describing it to me. Man, he told me after all of that, the good part is your son's wearing the seatbelt because the way it's locked. We know he's wearing the seatbelt. He didn't sustain any injuries because there was no blood in the vehicle. And so what he ended up doing, but we believe he had a severe head injury, right? He had a severe head injury. He had a brain injury that caused him, he got himself out of the seatbelt. Now, he had a brain injury, but he was able to, like, if the car turned over and on the side, he somewhere was able to unloose himself, I guess, and kick out the sunroof. And I'm thinking in my head, He kicked out the sunroof. He told me it was glass. He kicked out the sunroof. He pointed out, said some glass there. That's where the glass came from. And he was telling me about the glass. He kicked the glass out of the sunroof and got out the sunroof, right? First of all, I found out later the vehicle didn't even have a glass in that sunroof. They don't come with a glass. They only have a panel. But then I found out it was a panel. I'm like, okay, well, he kicked that panel out with a superhuman strength, I guess, with a brain injury and all that. And he kicked his way out of the sunroof. And he, I guess, decided to take his boots off, tuck one of them up under the front end of that car, because that's where it's at, tucked up under the front end here. And then the other one on the other side where the wheels is. And he took those shoes off and then walked over there to that little area right there and started stripping his clothes off and putting it in the pile. Took his safety vest off, threw it over there, I guess, and then started stripping his clothes off and just putting it in the pile. Just putting it in the pile as he's taking it off. Like, are you serious? If a person is taking something off, I can't see him just putting it in a pile. And he has some kind of brain injury. He's disoriented, and he's neatly putting it. It's not neat, of course, but neatly putting it in the pile. In other words, putting it organized in a pile. It'll be all over that scene. They would have the pants over here. The shirt would have been somewhere else or whatever, because he'd probably been taking it off. And as he was trying to get himself together and just taking it off, it wouldn't be in no pile. So it's little things like that as an investigator, which I am, for my son. I look at little things in a logic way, and it just don't make sense to me. And I'm looking at your BS you tell me. In hindsight, I'll be honest with you, at the moment, I'll just listen to them. Some of the stuff I didn't understand, listen to the BS, but at other times I was accepting it for the moment, because I did, your mind's not thinking. And my mind was about my son. Seeing that vehicle was very devastating. I couldn't even stand up that great. It took my breath away when he's showing me a picture and started describing what he felt was going on with my son. So, it's not easy to just sit there and, think on a certain level when you're in an emotional state mentally. And just like when he told me, it suggested about the monastery and the monk thing. He said those things to me. In hindsight, that's when it dawned on me what he really said to me at that moment. So that kind of thing. Anyway, Lawrence, thanks for your question again. Your foundation might need to reach out to distraught son looking for his mother, with 25,000 reward and flyers, but not printed. Roberto Breton. Yeah, and I talked to the gentleman. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought him up. He's the guy that I want to have on the show here. I did talk to him, and we had a conversation about it. Once his foundation do get up and everything, it's filed and everything. Once I get the foundation up and running, we get the funding and things like that going. Yes, that's the kind of things, like you're saying, Lawrence, would be one of the biggest things I'll be able to do, is help other families, and I'll be able to help myself right now. I have some forensics work to be done. We're working on that, trying to get the money for that. I don't have that. And so we're going to try to get these things done. But like I told you before, my major first priority is to my son. And then the second priority is to help other families and stuff like that. That's the reason why I created the foundation, to be able to soon, hopefully, in the future here, to help other families, as well as help my situation here with my son. So my goal right now is to get this funding, to get the searches done. Again, get out there in the search and get those proper equipments that I need to do the searches properly, and also to get my forensics done for my son's case, and expand also to help while doing that, be able to help other families alike, other searches where, like what's happening in this timing with that family there, to be able to assist with help and things like that. So that's what the goal is, to help other families. That's the reason why I decided to get the Daniel Robinson Foundation, is because I'm passionate and about helping other families. Like I said, it's not just about my family, it's about other families. But right now, I have to find my son. So I'm really grateful for you guys working very hard, supporting and things like that. And thank you, Lawrence, for putting that out, because I was hoping he came on to speak about his mother's case. She went missing. That's very devastating. It's a very devastating time. Because I really know exactly what he's going through, the unknown and stuff like that. Being really worried and frantic. Just all kind of thoughts going through his head. I already know that. And I wish I can do something more at the time. But like I said, you guys just keep on bearing it with us, and we need your support because see, things like this is exactly the reason why I have the foundation filed, and when this foundation get running and be able to help someone like the gentleman and his his family, for things like that. So hopefully before this foundation even get up running like that, he'll be well found his mother safely. I told him in our message that our conversation that I believe that he would find his mother alive and well. So like I said, I'm waiting on him to respond back about the coming on this Q&A, and he haven't responded back yet. And like I said, my mind, since you put that up, Lawrence, I'm assuming he haven't found his mother yet, but I was in my mind, I thought maybe he found his mother, and that's the reason why he didn't respond back again in our conversation. So, all right, thank you so much for putting that information out there. Also, thank you, Settown, for being here this morning, being part of it, and thank you for your prayers. I mean, you guys, every time you have a prayer, praying and stuff like that, I really believe in prayer, and prayer is a very important tool that we have. Like I say, it's a petition. I mean, it's a way that we talk to God. God give us an open avenue to talk to Him directly. And I believe in prayer, and I believe, like the word said, we should always be praying. So definitely want to keep prayer in part of this search efforts. Thank you, also JD Corona, for being here. And you have a question there. Do you have a map of the area already searched? Yes, I do. You go into pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and go into the set the map, search tab, and also the Satner map. You look for Satner map, and there you'll find the map, and it's marked off everything that we've done so far. There's some areas that have to be redone. We had an issue where you guys, some areas that just need to be searched again. Some of those color coding things we have would indicate, whether it was just a hasty search. We would call a hasty search, meaning that we didn't have enough people. We kind of just walk around and look. Then we had line searches, and then sometimes we have pretty much how you have on your JD Corona, what you have on your picture there, your profile. I believe that's like a quad. We have the quads and razors and things like that out there, and those are good searches. But we also need those detailed searches like the line searches. And so the biggest part is sometimes one of the biggest part is to have when we find things out there like remains. We found a lot of animal remains out there. I mean, a lot of them. But we also had occasionally found human remains, or what appears to be human remains. And what we do is we take pictures of those things and send them up to Buckeye. And but we don't have the coordinates on it. That'll be a problem. I mean, that those areas have been done, probably have to be done again. But I'm not saying that's exactly what happened. But I'm saying is that there's some areas that I definitely know need to be searched, double searched, because of some efforts there. Want to make sure that we get it covered correctly. But anyway, definitely look on the Satner map there, and you will find information on all the areas that we did search. And we did all the searches. I mean, we did them and got them cleared, a lot of areas, but there's some areas there that still need to be searched, and some that haven't been searched yet. And it's all, and I'm saying, when I say these areas, you guys have been out there for 10 months, for a long time. And people say, why are you still out there searching? Yeah, it's very huge. You guys come out there, I think only volunteers that come out will actually know the reason why. Those areas that haven't been searched yet. And everything that we do search is reasonable. It's not I'm trying to search the whole entire Sonoran desert. No, I'm searching the areas that's reasonable to what happened to my son. It's based on the science. It's based on the investigation, things like that. So, hey, he was in this when I first started my searches, it was only surrounded by where he was missing the well sites, right? And then once the vehicle showed up, I expanded my searches to cover not only the well site area where he's last seen, and also where this vehicle right here was found. Also, from the 11 additional miles that was on the vehicle, we had to expand a little farther because of that. And also with the science, like I said, how far can he walk from what we know with no clothes on his body? Or if he had changed the clothes, how far he can walk without the water, because we do know that he didn't take in the water, because all his water is accounted for in the vehicle, 2 cases of it. So all that put into consideration is how those areas are gridded off and things like that where we're searching. And like I said, there's still areas that we haven't searched, and it's massive. That desert is massive. I'm out there on searching. I can tell you guys from a standpoint of having a missing loved one, it's intimidating, and sometimes it's depressing. You know what I'm saying? When we think you're done, and you have these volunteers, and how me as a father can convince people to continue to, and that's what happens in my mind a lot, convince people to keep coming out to help me search these areas that need to be searched, and things like that. So it's very difficult and very stressful and all that kind of stuff to get, to convince people to do so. And then one thing I have learned is that I didn't have to do too much of convincing. It is that is loving people, hard working people who have a heart and a mind to want to help. So they come out on their own accord and help me. And they tell me that. They tell me that to give me a hug. They can tell when something's going on. Mr. Robinson, we're here for you. That type deal. That means a lot. So, hopefully when I get back out there to search some areas that need to be searched again, I'll have those same people and some other people that want to come out and help. So just keep that in mind, you guys. All right. I do have a question here from Where the Wind Blows. I just thought about something. I hope I ain't go past the time. They are interested in his laptop. It has to have if it has been gone through. I don't know who you're speaking of, but if you're asking about somebody's being interested in Dane's laptop, well, I don't know if it been going. That's what I'm saying. You guys, I have those things, like I say, in my possession, meaning that I have ownership of those that have been given over to me by the Buckeye Police Department. But as in going into those items, I have not. Those is inside evidence bags and things like that. The backpack of my son, stuff that he gave over to me. I kept it just the way Buckeye Police Department gave it to me. Turned that over directly to my investigator at the time. He the one was able to do certain things with it and then reseal them when he quit, when he left, stopped working with me. And so I was able to get those items and store them up, and we have them stored in the right proper place. So right now, those things are definitely not something I'll go through and look. I wish I could. As a father, I'm definitely anxious to find out, and some things I'm kind of suspecting what I will find once the forensics people get hold to it and go through it and things like that. So right now, it's not my job to do that. I'm Dane's father, so I have some limitations there. Much as I investigate in this thing and want to do so much, certain things I'm very limited to on a legal standpoint. Also, keep, just in case it turned out to be foul play, I don't want to have any backlash from, I tamper with something. So I don't tamper with anything. I don't mess with it. I just stay away from it. So, and I just do my investigation based on other things I have. So everything's circumstantial, but I have a lot of information. So thank you. And I don't have anything about that laptop or computers. All right. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for putting that out, Barry. I really appreciate it. That's right. And thank you, Michelle, for saying that. Let's leave no stone unturned. And you're right. And that's what I was mentioning, because people ask me all the time, hey, do you consider this? Do you consider that? I consider everything. I don't accuse nobody of something, but I'll tell you what, just like the man at the well, I seen a little footage. I didn't know he did the Paramount Films video interview. I did the Paramount Film interview, but I didn't know he did one. And I seen him doing the interview, telling his side of the story. I don't believe that story. I can say personally, and I have that right. I do not believe the story. And it's something that's not correct about the story, in my opinion, when I go through it. So like I said, I look at everything. I'm not calling them any liars. If I was in the stretch, I'm still saying the man is a liar. All I'm saying is I don't believe his story. I guess you could say almost saying that's what I'm saying, but I don't believe his story. When I say it just don't make sense to me when I go through the walkthrough of his story. And they can preach all they want to about the rain and this and that. Man, what I'm planning to do is when I'm out there, just when it started, it's raining and stuff out there coming again, I'm gonna make videos, you guys, of tire tracks and what happens when it rains out there in the desert, what really happens, and then I can prove my point even more so when it comes to rain. And the fact is, if you listen to the story correctly, my son did not leave when it was raining. He said it was going to rain, is what he told me. It was a sale coming up, and he said my son was concerned about about the rain, and what he was told me. And then he said he knew the sale was going to pass. He said he's going to stay there. He didn't need to leave, blah blah blah, because he can look at it and tell it was not a significant amount of rain. So him himself seeing there's not enough significant rain. My son leaving, how does rain cause him to be able to detect out of all those tracks that I got, like I showed you guys, distinct Daniel's track only, that type deal. People come out through that desert all the time. It's not, it wasn't just Daniel and him ever being out in that area. There's many people out there in that desert all the time. I see tracks all the time out there, and it's not from my searches. So, all right, leave no stone unturned, and I like that. Brooklyn Rose, thanks so much. Have you heard of Heavy D Sparks channel? That sounds really familiar to me. I think I have, but it sounds really familiar to me. I think they would be very helpful in the search if we could join together and get their attention. Check them out and let me know. Thank you, David. And I will. Heavy D Spark. And that sounds really familiar to me. I think I did run across it before, but I will check that out. Heavy D Sparks, and see what that's all about. All right. We got Shara. Thanks so much for being here off of Facebook. You have a question. What would be helpful to further investigative efforts outside of volunteers for the search and funds funds the search? What costs do you incur related to investigation? I am asking so many help. So you may help others understand the need for funding. One of the things I need when it comes to the investigative stuff is definitely the forensic work. That's exactly what I'm waiting for to be able to get those. Those labs, those things have to go to each lab. I know the electronics, for instance, have to go to like the cell phone did to forensics lab that does the electronics, and then I have the other labs that we have to take care of things like my orientation is bad. The stuff that's on the ground. If I understand your question correctly, the things that's on the ground and things like that. Those things had to be taken care of. Everything else that was inside the vehicle, the red transfer paint on the vehicle and things like that. So those are costs that I don't have a number for. Those are type deals that, like for instance, when I do the cell phone, I didn't know it was going to cost $12,000 to process that phone. I know now, but that's just only one item. So I'm just saying, so the thing is, I don't know how much each item would cost. Those things cannot be turned in, first of all, to a lab by me. They don't allow me to do that. It had to go through my investigator or through my attorney or something like that. So, as in from a volunteer standpoint, when it comes to investigative efforts outside of volunteers, nobody should be volunteering on an investigative part. I don't advocate for that because I know I did have in the past people going out there questioning the workers and stuff like that. And I think they even, if I'm not mistaken, I heard something in the wind where people's actually threatening some of those people. And, it's things like that. So nobody should be volunteer. I didn't ask them to go out to do any kind of investigation. So people going out there on their own doing investigations on Daniel's case, that's not something I ask you guys to do. It's not your job to do that. It's the law enforcement job to do it, and it's my job to do it as a father. But as in the average person, Shara, I don't ask people to go out there. You don't go out there and questioning people and all this kind of stuff. Is not nobody's part of the case in that manner. Only thing I ask for the general public is support, as in like you say, funding for the searches, funding to help me get this forensic stuff done, things like that. To remain in Arizona, this stuff like that for the fight for my son. So also to come out to the searches and as physically help search. Those are efforts I do. Ask you guys, can you please spread his name and his word, things, his name and his case and stuff like that, and help me get out these flyers, stuff like that. But when it comes to investigative, sign the petition, that's another one. But if it comes to investigative stuff and things like that, no, I do not ask anybody to do any kind of investigative stuff. So I tell you guys, that's what I'm doing. I have the right to do that. I'm a father. I'm going to find out what happened to my son. I was hoping, like I started off, is to work with the Buckeye Police Department. They showed me quickly they're not working with me. So our relationship had went really bad when it comes to that. Once my investigators turned in all the stuff that he found on the scene, not the clothing, I'm saying all the information, the evidence, hard evidence they found from the scene, from their data, pull up the black box and things like that. So once all that happened, they fell apart. Yeah, I continue to do my searches. I continue to have to pay, for things I had to have done. I had to have an investigator. I had to have certain things, and so that's what all that comes from, Shara. But outside of that, no, I do not ask you all to investigate anything. So I'm really, if I'm understanding your question correctly, no. First, I don't ask people to investigate anything, and those calls will be from costs I need to be coming from getting the forensic stuff done. And the reason why you probably don't know, I'm gonna make sure you know this too. The reason why I'm doing that is because the police department didn't do any forensic work at the scene. That's why you don't see any markers from their picture here on the scene. All the pictures I can show you they gave me, there's no markers or anything that they have where they did any kind of investigative stuff. They personally told me I had a witness there with me, also observer, and also recorded meeting with them guys where they admitted they didn't do any forensic work on the scene. Also, I requested the fingerprinting while I was in that meeting of them to do fingerprinting of the vehicle, which was a couple of days after the vehicle was found, to do fingerprinting on that vehicle. So since they haven't done anything, shower, that's what I had to do myself. So I had to make sure I get the funding and everything else I need to have it done, because it's important that for everything I know, the information that I've gotten from my own investigation, from what I get from my investigator, we really need those forensic work done. All right, Angela's eyes. Thank you so much for your question. Is there a flyer distribution tomorrow? Yes, it is tomorrow. Those days go by really fast. We have it on East McDowell. You guys, I don't know if you're in Arizona, but yes, we definitely will be there to, hand out. If you guys want to pass out flyers or grab these flyers, you can. I really appreciate you do come out there and grab them. A lot of times we do go out and pass them out in certain areas. Sometimes people want to come with us and pass those flyers out. So either way, you guys want to take them with you, I really appreciate it. Take it to your city. That's the reason why I'm really trying to reach every city I can. The flyers is one of the biggest, very important part of this whole effort, is keeping word of mouth, keeping information out there. So thank you. All right. Shauna, thank you so much for putting it up. Do you have a question? Please voice them. Mr. Robinson can provide you with the facts. Thank you, because that's true. When asking your question, start with the capital letter Q, or the question in all caps, or the question mark. That's easy. It'll make it easier for me. You're right. Thank you. Also, thank you, Gwen. Love you. Thank you so much for being here, moderating. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you for putting that up. Yes, you guys can not forget to do that. Hold on a second. I'm trying to get something real quick here, guys. All right. Thank you so much, Gwen, for everything you've done. Thank you for everything you have done on the back end there. But you guys can please hit that like, share Dane's story, subscribe. That really helped us with the algorithms. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. All right. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask those questions. I will be answering the questions to my best abilities. And if you definitely put it there, to make sure, like I said, hit those big question marks, things like that. Let me see here. Let's see what I got going on here. I do see some chatter going on in the comment section. If you guys have questions, please refer those questions to me. If I can answer those questions, I will answer those questions for you. I really appreciate it if you guys can do so. This is not a this effort. This page, for instance, this YouTube channel that I'm doing here is an effort to keep my son's story out there. To effort to get help. bring attention, like I said, awareness. You know what I'm saying? And one of the biggest things is my son is missing, and I'm gonna do everything and every effort I can to find my son. I guess I'm gonna tell you again, the priority that I have is to my son. And that's my biggest and my first priority, and I cannot neglect that. That's why I'm here in Arizona. That's why I left home. That's why I'm not on vacation. I'm not enjoying life. It's very devastating. I don't get sleep. You guys can imagine how much stuff I had to take care of all at one time. But you know what? The biggest part is I had a team that helped me in the desert, but then I also had a team that's helped me outside the desert now. The team outside the desert helping me, a great group of people help me keep things organized, because you can imagine it's things for one person to not being able to grieve for his son and had to constantly try to keep things running, from flyer distribution, getting banners up, keeping billboards up, to organizing searches, to you name it. It's a lot. It's a lot on one person. And then on top of that, have empathy for other families, which I do. And I'm not giving myself any kind of praise. I'm just telling you the way my heart is. It's impossible to be a human, not to hear other people's story and not want to help in some form, whether you can or not, but not wanting to help in some form or fashion. And so that's why I founded the Daniel Robinson Foundation. And like I said, it's been filed. And being that it's filed, it's going to be in that process where eventually I will be able to help other families along while I'm trying to help myself. You know what I'm saying? When I say help myself, help my family find my son. So you guys, I'm really grateful for you being here on this Q&A and understanding that this channel here is definitely for the outreach of my son, Daniel. That's my first priority. And then also, if I can help other people, that's what I'm trying to do. But I think everybody should be doing the same thing. Please work hard. Work hard. When I say work hard, please, you have to. Like I told a young man about his mother, the first thing I asked him to do was get a website. Set up your website. Saying reach out to social media. Social media is your biggest tool and your biggest friend. I told him, hey, look, you need to go out there and hit those groups up. If you're out there in the search, hit those small groups, whether they're hiking groups or quads and razor groups or whatever the case they may be. Just hit these groups up, and a lot of these people would want to come out to the searches, but they got to have something organized or where to come find out where the searches are going to be. You can use your YouTube channel, use your Facebook channel and your pages and stuff like that. Twitter is one of the biggest tools I like to use. You can do that, but you need to go where they are. And a lot of times to make it organized, you need to start that website quickly. I told him to start that website quickly with his mother and put her information up there. That helps some people. Some people need something. Believe it or not, some people don't have that everybody has empathy, but I'm saying they don't have that thing to automatically do something. They want to hear something. Hey, they'll hear her story. Oh my gosh, this is terrible, and then they make them want to act. So, like, man, you need to put her page up there, get a website done really quickly if you can, and try to give them all the tools that I can, as in how to do certain things. Because right now, like I said, I'm trying to get funding to get things done for my son forensics. Definitely, I'm getting to have the foundation that's being built and try to be able to help him. Like, for instance, in that situation, I would have loved the foundation of being able to have those things already set up for him, and he just can walk on in there and utilize those tools. So instead of being able to tell him how I done it and give him the tools that way, so you can have those tools already ready and available. So that's the goal of the foundation. And we will have that up and running. So thank you guys for bearing in with us on that. Also, Angela Eyes, thank you so much for being here for your question. How often do you go out there to the desert during the week? Well, I don't put that out. And Angela Eyes, and I'll be honest with you, when I go out to the desert, most of the times I don't tell people. Only a few people know. It would be people in my team, close related people like that. And that's especially if I go out there by myself. I definitely, times, my son went missing out there. So I don't ask anybody. A lot of volunteers will tell you that too. I tell them all the time, look, I don't like you to have someone to go out there, especially some of the young ladies. I'm like, hey, look, please don't go out there. My son was missing out there. Stay in groups. That's why we have organized searches for people to stay in groups and stay together because we look out for each other. Nobody run off rogue and I'm going this way, y'all this way, I'm going this way here. No, we try to stay in teams and things like that. And I can confess there have been times where I run off and because I have a place I need to check or do or something I need to put my drone in the air to look at, whatever the case may be. But I just don't announce that and tell people how many times and when I do and things like that because that's going against my security for myself. But I can tell you I do go out and do things. That's why you guys seen the video when I did the videos when I actually do a walkthrough of what the story. I had to do that for myself. It had nothing to do with the volunteers, and it had to do with that. That's part of my investigation where I had to go out there, and I didn't want to include volunteers. So yes, I took my risk and my time to go out there by myself to create those videos and to walk through and things like that. But I really protect myself. I do. But one of those protection is to not discuss when or what, how many times and when I go out there. But I do go out there to make sure I do it. My searches for my son is not over. I just can't do it by myself, and I really need the people and they be able to help me do so. So to get those areas searched. I only have 2 eyes, and I won't be able to do it by myself. But yeah, thank you so much for that concern, and thank you for your question. All right, thank you, Shauna. Hitting that like, share, subscribe button if you guys can. I really appreciate it if you can, do that for me. Get Daniel's story out there. Get the algorithms going. I'm really working really hard, trying to get my son's story, keep it going, and trying to get help in this case and keep it going. It's almost going on a year, and again, I ask all families to do that. You can't not sit back and wait on law enforcement. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. You can't wait on them to do anything. You got to do some things for yourself. And I learned that really quick. And it's hard work, but everybody have their limits. I just so happen to have a real strong. I had to find my son. I just bottom line. I have to. He's my son. If y'all met Daniel, I promise you'll love him. He's a really good guy. And not only that, he's my son. He's a Robinson. He's my son, and I have to make sure that my son is my job, my duty. I didn't have children to turn my back on them somehow. That's not in my nature. It's not in my heart, in my mind. I can't do that as a parent. You just can't do it. I don't think any mother or father or anybody would do that. Turn it back on their child. I don't care how old they are. I use the word child. I have people, some come and say, do you call him a kid, a child? Yeah, he's a kid and child to me, he's still my little boy to me, and, I know he's a grown man now. He just turned 25 years old. But, to me, he's still my child. And, I'm going to see to it that he finished all the things that he said he wanted to do. I just need to find him. And I really rely on you guys to help me do so. So every time you guys, share his story here, get out a petition, when you donate, whatever you do towards everything I'm asking. I wouldn't ask you guys this stuff if I didn't need it or need those help. But everything I ask you is definitely geared towards find my son. I wouldn't be out here every day doing Q&As to, I don't want. I have people that's from Arizona, so I try to be careful with that. I really love you guys. I'm just not an Arizonian. I can be honest with that. I'm a guy that loves to be around water. And this is a desert. I like to be around water. I like to be around the ocean. Every year, I look forward to being on some ocean somewhere. You know what I'm saying? If I had my way in life, I'd probably be living on the ocean front or something. But I just like water. I like water. So this is not a vacation trip for me. It's not an enjoyable thing for me. But you know what? I see a need. It's my son. He had to be found. And I see a need to help other people. And I'm trying my best. I'm not perfect at it. I'm just a man looking for my son, and a man with a passion that's out there to trying to help other people along my way to help myself and help me find my son. So I'm doing it the best way I can. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way to do things. everybody can find kind of flaws or any kind of, anybody can do that, but what, I just know that I'm doing the best I can as a father who never had to miss a son before in my life. Didn't know that I was going to be military retired one day and then out in the desert looking for my son, back out in a desert somewhere looking for my son. That's a very devastating time and a very devastating thought that always constantly have to be in my mind every day. All right, I have a question here from Angel's Eyes. Will you go back to help the family today? Will I go back to help? Will you go to help the family today? I don't know which family you're speaking of. You're talking about the gentleman with his mother. Yes, I'm still waiting on him to reach out, and I will be talking to him. Hopefully, if he get back in touch with me, I definitely want to help any way I can. So, yes, that's definitely something that's there for me. So to help, and also to help any other family. You guys, you got to know there's a lot of families out there that I speak with. One in Florida, for instance, I talked to. I'm trying to get her on the show also. There's a lot of families out there, so it's coming. So thank you so much. All right. Thank you also, Ellie, for being here. I really appreciate it. God bless you for being here on this Q&A. Also, I do have a question from Ashes to Ashes. Thank you so much, Ashes, for being here on this Q&A this morning. Do you get much information from the rancher that found Daniel's car? I had a lot of information from him at the beginning. He did share a lot of information. A lot of it I can't, of course, utilize here. Tell you guys about, but yeah, he gave me a lot of extensive stuff that he have what he know from his standpoint. But I can't. There's a lot of things I already put out there, you guys, about what the rancher told me. What was his demeanor? His actual demeanor was very good. He took it upon himself. Well, I met him out there the first time I saw him. He came out to the desert to point out where the vehicle was found. Right. I told y'all the story before. I didn't know where the vehicle was found. The only thing I had was the picture at the police station that he showed me and gave me, this one picture. I still had searches, you guys. I told you I had searches going before the vehicle was found. And that search that weekend, I think that vehicle was found on a Wednesday. But I had a search on that Saturday, right? Organized search. My DN coordinator, he got some wind, I guess. I didn't know. I know now why, but, it's another story to that. But he told me that morning, hey, David, I know pretty much where the vehicle was found. So I found this little area that's close. We would call this a quarry area. Went down to this quarry area. I had it on the map and got down there. I mean, back then we used to have a lot of volunteers. We get up to 200 people. And so get out there in that morning. Me and my daughter has just come to the searches. I don't allow my children to come out to searches because of obvious. We've been finding human. Once I realized we was finding human remains out there, animal remains too. My daughter and my son-in-law and my twin daughters was out there one Saturday, and what caused me to stop them from coming out to searches was that they found some cow bones, and they was really freaking out about it a little, and they didn't know it was human or not. Of course, I quickly knew it was cow bone, but the whole point was it dawned on me, I'm out there looking for my son. I've been in Afghanistan. I've seen some things like that, but they don't need to have that scarred in their brain. They need to remember their brother the way they remember their brother if he's out there. So, that's the reason why they're not in those searches to this date. So I don't let them out there just in case. They don't need to see their brother like that if that be. So anyway, that morning, that Saturday, I went down to this little area, the quarry, for the first time, waiting on my coordinator with the volunteers. And lo and behold, he came down the hill. We see him from a distance. I see him, but I seen a vehicle that looked exactly like his almost, because they had this big white vehicle like a police vehicle. Second vehicle was ended up being Chief Hall. Didn't know Chief Hall too well. I was having a meeting that was coming up with him, but I didn't know I was going to meet him that morning. He just showed up there. And the first thing he did, he came out. Somebody, hey, there's Mr. Robinson there. I had my daughter. And the first thing he did, he started grandstanding. I call it grandstanding. When he's talking, hey, everybody, hey, hey, y'all want to know where this vehicle was found? And me and my daughter looking at me as a father, like, okay, why are you showing all these people, but y'all Buckeye Police? See, that's a disrespect thing. They haven't even never took the time out to show me and the family where the vehicle is located out there in the desert, other than that picture at that police station. And so, hey, come follow me, and y'all ain't got to leave your vehicles. You ain't got to drive. We can walk over here because it's right over the hill. Like I said, if you listen to the story the guy gave from the website, if you follow that story correctly, it goes over this hill, and that's where the vehicle is, right? Went over the vehicle, following this guy. Me and my daughter, we videotaped a lot of that. Still had a videotape today. And got into the little area. He's pointing down into the ravine. Said, Mr. Robinson, that's where your son's vehicle was found, right there, And I'm looking down that ravine, and I remember that one picture. I only had one picture at a time. They only gave me one picture. Look at that picture in my mind, and I was like, that don't look right, because it was a stump. This is a little stump that I found out later. It was a stump that used to be a cactus that was burnt up, most likely from by lightning or something. But it wasn't in that background, And he said, I was here, and I was here when something out of other. He was there when it was found or whatever. And then I looked at it and I said, okay, well, maybe what he's talking about. He's chief police. He's talking about. And then he started going off. Chief Hall started going off about the cartels and stuff. Oh, the cartels is bad out here, and they land their planes on Sun Valley Parkway at night, and this and that. And he just grandstand is going off. A little while later, my daughter tapped my shoulder, said this other guy wanted to speak to me, him and his wife. It turned out to be the rancher and his wife. He said, hey, I don't know why Chief Hall up there telling y'all that, but that vehicle was found right here. He pointed down in the ravine. It looked exactly how it was on that picture. And he said, I know because I the one who found it. And he said, there's the glass right there. And he pointed on the ground. I saw the glass on the ground. That was where Daniel's vehicle was found, right here, this picture here, right? Chief Hall stopped talking when he heard that. He turned red in the face. He walked off. He ain't said to nobody. He walked over that hill, got his vehicle, and left. I never seen him ever again out in my searches or anything else like that. After the rancher got through with that, he said he had some pictures and he wanted to share with me of the site before the Buckeye Police Department showed up, because I only had one. I was describing him. I only had one picture. He said, I got plenty of them, blah, 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 so on. He sure enough later on sometime came to my hotel with me and my investigator and gave us a testimony and everything else about those pictures, where he found this and that, blah, 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 what he seen, the whole story about the Buckeye, what they did and what they didn't do when he was out there, whole 9 yards. So I got a lot of information from him. His demeanor was really good. His wife's demeanor was really nice. We had a long conversation, so that type deal. So I did say also, is it true that Daniel spoke to a man with kids who was practicing shooting? What was his demeanor as well? Well, when I first met him, and I can be honest with you, he came with my search coordinator at the time. He said my search coordinator had introduced me to him as a law enforcement agent or officer or whatever, and he seen my son last. And then I'll be honest with you, I was judgmental by his appearance. When I say his appearance, he didn't look like somebody who would be in law enforcement, but they say it was, and I'm thinking maybe he's undercover or something. But he started talking about how he was sick and he had COVID before and something or other. And, this is the way he came off, kind of made me dismiss him somewhat. And so I sent him to my investigator a little time after that. I didn't really have no opinion after that. I just know that they came back to me later. My investigator and his then search coordinator told me they vetted his story. His story is correct. I guess they checked his cell phone to his ping location, whatever case may be. Whatever my investigator is supposed to have done. I accepted that. I happened to have a family press conference. I started putting that information out because it's been vetted in my mind, because they told me that. And I went ahead and put a story out. But I can tell you guys later on, there was some things about this gentleman that wasn't good that came out, and it was really embarrassing because, like I said, I relied on this information I got from my investigator and got from the then search coordinator that he was indeed a federal law enforcement officer. Come to find out he's not. This guy even showed me a badge. When I first met him, he showed me a badge. He showed me a badge the second time I seen him, and saying he's this federal law enforcement officer. I know, and I did get one indication that he wasn't, from some people in California that came out, investigative group, and They say they believe his badge is fake or something or other. I don't know about badges. I'm not an officer. But anyway, he later declined or retract on this story about being a federal law enforcement agent. Said he never said it, even though he did. But he did go talk to the Buckeye Police Department about his story, about seeing my son, and my son directed him to the better place to shoot and all that kind of stuff. And when I got back from the Buckeye Police Department, Detective Biffin, I think it was in January this year, is that they vetted his story and it's credible. Now, and they had no reason. I said, well, what about this thing about him? Oh, that has nothing to do with it. We don't believe they have anything to do with anything, right? So I wanted to accept it, but I didn't accept it too much. But I'm glad I didn't, because I did have, and I'm bringing you up again, She Rose Nation. I know you probably in this comment session, she brought up something that is really critical. You know, my son had never been to this place. That's the reason why I had them to go out and search for my son. He had never been out there in that desert, you guys. That's the first time ever coming out to Sun Valley Parkway and Cactus Road area. He know nothing about that area. I confirmed that with his company. He never been out there before. That's his first time. First time he met this worker out there from Weber. Supposedly, that's what I was told by him. And also, he wouldn't know anything about the weather. My son was there around 9 o'clock. This guy that said he was also practicing with his children out there, he said he was out there at, he started off saying he was out there at 1. That's one thing he did also, 1 o'clock when he said my son. And then when my investigator came out and with this thing that the first accident happened around 1 o'clock, he retracted that and said it was around 10 o'clock he saw my son. So that was an indication right there that something wasn't right. But like I said, Buckeye, they claimed that he was vetted. They vetted in his story and they say it's true. But at the same time, like I said, the question from Sea Rose Nation make you think otherwise now. Why would my son give a direction to someone about where to shoot and how he know where a person can target practice and stuff, which is in BLM lands out there. But you can practice target practice and all that kind of stuff. How can you give somebody direction on something he don't know himself? You know, he have never been out there. And the location that where he said when he saw my son wasn't working there. My son was working off of Sun Valley Parkway and Cactus Road, and we've been to the well site where he was working at. He wasn't working in no area near the Hansiyapa River. That's far off. He was working near the Wagoner Wash, the area that this guy said he saw my son. That was far off from that well site. So what I'm saying is his stories don't make sense, but it's kind of ironic and weird to me with that question she asked to see that this department saying that his story is okay, you know. And see, that's another thing that always gets me with that. So, you know, that kind of deal. But that's it for that question, guys. I run into the 2-hour mark, and I went past my time. I didn't realize it was so late. You know, get onto this Q&A. But you guys, if you have any more questions, I apologize for the question I couldn't get to. I really wish I can get to all of them. Most likely, I'm sure I'm missing a whole bunch of them. But I guess I'm really grateful for your questions. You guys have questions in the future, please ask those questions. I do have this one here question. Have you been able to speak to Daniel's neighbors? Yes, I have. Or the neighbors of the young lady? No, I haven't. I don't know where she lived. Well, you know, of course, I have reports and stuff like that, but I don't know if she lived. Never been in her house to see if anyone saw anything weird. Yes, I did check with Daniel's neighbors and stuff like that. So that's one of the first things I did in my investigation. So you guys have more questions in the future, please bring them. I mean, we have a lot of questions and get into a lot of details, and I really, like I say, happy that you guys have them, because that's what it is, a Q&A session, and I need the questions. So as long as I get the questions, that definitely helps. And it don't let me click on the thing, so I think I'm almost over on my time. I see a lot more questions. Again, like I said, I apologize for not getting to each and every last one of them. Please come back to the next Q&A, and I would definitely get to those questions. So if you remember those questions, bring them back. Don't forget about, like I said, the fast and prayer for Daniel that's coming up. Don't forget about this. The searches are on pause right now. Don't forget about, being able to go to policehelpfinddaniel.com and get on the volunteer other ways tab. The flyers, things like that. If you guys want to be part of, being volunteer ambassador. Saying put that information there, and then kind of say put a little note there. Hey, I want interested in this, in being an ambassador, and then I'll tell you the details of that and see if you really want to be a part. Also, we have approximately 115,632 signatures. Where I say voices of you all. So I'm really grateful. Again, the fast and prayer on the 25th. I was running through some of these things, you guys, so I can get off this Q&A. So thank you for coming in. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. It's very important to get Daniel's story out there. And please, like I said, don't forget the tip line. God bless you all. And thank you again. Thank you again for coming out to this Q&A. And I guess I'll see you guys on the next one. You have a blessed day, a productive day. Keep God first. And, keep praying for me and my family. Pray for Daniel's mother, his siblings. And, just keep praying for us. God bless you.